LEC studio for the last game of Day 1, Misfits Gaming versus Fnatic. Is that and the long-awaited introduction of Bwipo to the jungle. I think it was the roster swap, or the role swap even, that shocked the most people, even though the writings were on the wall, but until it was actually happening, I don't think anyone really expected this.
We still didn't believe it because we heard rumors. We had the ability to kind of meme and joke about it. Of course, Bwipo joined us on the MSI broadcast as well, and was a little coy backstage, you know, memeing it himself. Yeah. But the fact is, he's there, and now we need to see if it works.
Definitely so. So can I get your first gut check on what you think Bwipo will be able to bring to that jungle?
I think it'll work. I think it'll work. And the reason that I think it will work is Bwipo as a player has always been a loud voice, has always been very strongly opinionated, and frankly, has always been very outspoken on his view of the game. One of the things I have to address and call out, though, is over the last 18 months to 2 years, since he has become a more prominent member of Fnatic and now arguably the face of Fnatic, he has matured and grown. And in that role, the ability to impact and lead is why I have faith that this will work.
We'll see if the people at home have faith as well. We want to hear from you. Will Fnatic's role swap work? Will Bwipo succeed for Fnatic? Spam yes or no in chat now. And with that, then I'll go over to Ender. We have a lot of trust coming out of Quickshot for that role swap for Bwipo. Ender, how do you feel about it, considering the play style that we saw from Bwipo so far as a top laner?
Man, I mean, if Kato can do it, surely Bwipo. This guy, I've got a lot of faith in, honestly. From speaking with him, he's we knew him as a bit of an innovator up in the top lane, busting out some crazy picks. Hey, some of those might work in the jungle now, and I've had the pleasure of talking to him about some of the things he might bring out as well. Won't leak anything, but there is some spice in the pool. I also just think he has a really good mind for the game. I'm sure if you guys were watching the MSI broadcast, you already had so many opinions, not just on the top lane, but on how all these other lanes work. And he's also so hardworking. The man analyzes every single click he's going to make on the screen, and that's why I think he has absolutely what it takes to make a good jungler, a solid jungler in the LEC.
Just before we went on air, Ifya had a fantastic line saying how Bwipo is bookending Fnatic with Hylissang. And when we saw the roster, when we saw Upset joining Fnatic, we already went, oh, Upset and Hylissang, that's exciting. But now also when you zoom out and you think about jungle support duos and the impact that they have around the map, around the game, Hilly and Bwipo are two sides of the same coin. They will be able to combo together and play the game in the same way. We just heard in that interview how strongly Leader feels about a viewpoint and an approach to League of Legends and why he and Selfmade work well. The same logic applies here to Hilly and Bwipo.
I think that is a great point, and there's also obviously always the danger of the aggression being a bit too much. But Hex Flash is disabled, so maybe that'll be a good gift for Fnatic. Then let's also talk about kind of the other chains, because Bwipo in the jungle, that means he's no longer in the top lane, and Fnatic saw out Kameto Course, K-Core, sorry, that's what we've always been saying. Adam for in the top lane now. He is a rookie coming to the LEC, Ender, and I think there's the most question marks perhaps around what he is going to bring and if he is going to be an LEC level top laner straight out of the gates.
I mean, I would say that the way we saw Adam just completely demolishing people at EU Masters, like, I've got some faith in this guy. Maybe it will take some time before he can get his feet under him, but I think that slotting into Fnatic as a team is such a great fit for Adam personally as a player. We talked about how Bwipo had those pocket picks in the top lane, the coaching staff was allowing him to play. Well, Adam, you see his top lane Olaf, you see his top lane Darius. You don't see those champions picked in the LEC usually, but if any team was going to allow a fresh face, a rookie in their team to pull it off, it would be this Fnatic coaching staff.
And something that I said during Ready Check, if anybody was watching from the beginning of the show, is that when you look at the players and you consider the impact that Nisqy has and how I feel and I tend to believe he's a little bit more of a supportive, enabling mid laner. And then you look at the carry that you do have in Upset. You already know what he can do. Let's assume you can carry from the jungle, which we've seen time and time again, which we know Bwipo can do. Now what that allows is the Bwipo, Hylissang, and Nisqy to enable either Adam or to enable Upset and allow them to remove or to apply resources to whatever they want to in terms of their draft.
And I think when it comes to Fnatic also, that roster actually on paper, I thought they were going to do extremely well in the spring split. And they actually did well for the changes that were made to the lineup, but this is a huge change. So it will remain to be seen if they're going to figure out their identity sooner rather than later. We are going to check in with the votes as well, if someone is willing to tell me what the people voted for.
I think it's on that screen if it can be believed. There we go. We've got it on
I
table
can
now
see
as well.
that.
We
Okay,
locked
so
in there.
60% will Fnatic's role swap work? Yes, and 40% no. Yeah, you know, remains to be seen. Let's also talk a little bit about Misfits, Trevor, because they are one of the rosters that did not make any changes.
I know, and interestingly for me, Misfits historically, since LEC began, have got a pretty mostly positive win-loss. 4 wins, 6 losses against Fnatic. So Misfits match up relatively well against Fnatic. I do have to disclose that I am biased in this question, of course, but I'm hopeful. I think that Fnatic should still be the better team, but I do like that European teams, as we heard from Sjokz earlier, they're keeping their core players together, and I'm hoping to see development. Misfits were tantalizingly close to being a consistent and a playoff team in spring. I want to see that development. I want to see what they've done in the offseason.
Okay, let's see what happens. The Fnatic faithful are holding their breath as Fnatic try out a new recipe for success, starting versus Misfits Gaming.
I can't believe the fans don't believe them. I can't believe there's not enough support.
Trevor can't believe it, Vedius.
God.
He can't believe it.
He just
Can he believe it, guys? He just can't believe it. Do you guys at home have faith? That's the question that's got to be asked.
So
I mean,
yes,
they but also some people don't vote. There could be some conscientious objectors. Perhaps they disagree with voting.
Welcome. It's the final game of the day, everyone. It has been. Stop it. It has been the final game. The final game of the day. Oh my words! You can see that we're still getting back to the flow of things here at the LEC. It's going to be a banger, I'm sure. Fnatic's playstyle last split was very much that of aggression. They constantly looked for skirmishes. They constantly looked for fights. The 2v2 bot lane was constantly looking to try and kill their opposition. And a large driving force of that was actually self-made.
Yep.
But now Bwipo is kind of in the driving seat, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was just as aggressive as self-made was. But a lot of question marks to see how he will perform. And there have been a lot of successful roster swaps. Kadra was talking about it at the very beginning of the day. We've also got, well, you know, we also heard the Analysts talking about it, and it does seem that many people believe that he can do it. The question is, how will they shape up going up against Misfits that have kept the core of their roster together? It's going to be a good one. We're going into our final game of the day. So, let's get into it.
Into draft we go. Fnatic on the blue side, Misfits on the red. So far, Renekton, Gwen, Rumble, all really high priority bans. Thresh up there as well amongst those names as we see.
Joanna sorting out the fan.
Is he plugging in the AC?
He's getting some cool air going, you know what I mean?
It's a cool customer.
Cool customer, trying to cool the chat down.
Ooh.
As Gwen is actually going to be banned on Fnatic's side. We've pretty consistently seen that ban on the red side throughout the day, but Fnatic are saying we don't want to put any priority on it for the time being. Thresh also going to be banned on the red side, so the Gwen Thresh ban seems to have been swapped as both these teams looking to remove some of the most contested picks of the day.
And as we continue to go through draft, there's the Varus getting taken away. I believe that has had 100% presence today as well.
Yep.
So it's a very obvious there is a meta that has been defined over the last few days of scrim.
Oh, there was one game. The Astralis SK, there was no Varus, but close to. Aside from that, Varus has been shown up in every single game. Lulu also going to be taken off the board. Lulu clearly showcasing a very high presence as well. The flexibility of the champion is considered very strong right now. Renekton right now is currently left up and available. We know that Adam is a big Renekton player.
Yeah.
Domestically, playing in the LFL, he had a lot of success on it. Same in the EU Masters. Even when he was put behind, he was able to make huge plays on it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one banned away by Misfits.
Yeah, Adam does really like his AD bruisers in the top lane. The Darius, Renekton, Aatrox as well up there. I think he's played some Camille in the last couple of years, so wouldn't be surprised at all if we see him towards that. But as you say, Misfits are going to take it away. Now the question is, do you go straight for the Rumble pick? Do you trust Bwipo with first pick in his first
Rumble
game?
has to be. It kind of has to be. It has to be.
Has to be?
It's not about trust.
Are you sure?
It's about, this is the meta, man. You got to be able to play it. If you can't, you're already going to lose jungle points, and it looks like...
Are we giving out jungle points?
Yeah, we are.
10 jungle points to Bwipo.
Yeah, I mean, like, fresh junglers, you got to get evaluated on a bunch of things, right?
Okay.
You know, and being able to play the meta champions, that's like first checklist on the criteria, right? So he's ticked the first box. The next question is, can he play it? We're about to find out as Misfits now moving on to their side of the draft. The Lee Sin going to be locked in. A big flex pick. Top, jungle, mid. Can be played in all roles. Yet to see its support, but I believe. With the Udyr lock-in, unlikely that we're going to be seeing it in the jungle, as Razork is going to be locking that one. I believe that is actually our first Udyr of the day. As it will be a return of that champion. Very prevalent in spring, as the insta-locks come through from Fnatic. Viego and Lucian both locked in. Your two soul laners for Fnatic that, of course, can be flexed between top and mid as well.
As I said earlier, Adam, more of a bruiser player than the straight-up AD carry player in that top lane, so...
He can still play carry.
Yeah, of course he can.
You did mention the Camille as well, and I know mechanically he is very skilled. So I have faith in his ability to play these carries. We'll see where it does end up going. I think the Akali is an answer to the Lucian. I think that what Misfits is saying is, hey, we want to put this Akali into the Lucian matchup. Yes, it does struggle early on, but Akali's kill threat means that you actually have pressure on a Lucian later on into the game. Once you get level 6, especially once you get that first core item completed, Akali's designed to kill squishy champions.
Yep.
So that's often why it's used. Over in the LCK, we were able to see a couple of games of that as well. So I'm excited to see Vetheo on something a little different. You know, like last split, he was criticized a lot for his champion pool. He got Zoe at the very beginning of the split, and then he didn't really get the rest of it. He didn't get it for the rest of the split, rather. And he kind of struggled to find an identity of what is it that he finds success on, what can he have impact on when it comes to his team, and how does the team play around him. Now coming into this split, or at least the end of last split, he really started to find his form. The team played around him a lot more, and hopefully coming into this split, Misfits have found the formula for success much earlier than they had in spring.
Oh, definitely. And one of the teams, of course, that have kept those 5 players, kept the same roster between spring and summer, allowing them just more time to build up that synergy, build up that consistency, and allowing Vetheo to continue to step into his shoes as a carry mid laner for Misfits. Senna banned, Leona banned, Tristana taken away here by Fnatic. And I will say, it's quite a breath of fresh air to see AD carry and support left for the second rotation. We had a long time in spring where it was AD carry support plus jungle.
Kai'Sa
Nautilus plus jungle. Every time through those first 3 picks. And here, instead,
Kai'Sa.
We're gonna get Kai'Sa. Betty, you know what's banned?
Nautilus.
Yes.
All right, well, it's going to be a Kai'Sa versus Xayah bot lane matchup. Always exciting to see. But I think that Fnatic's bot lane is definitely going to be a little bit more aggressive than that of Misfits. You can see that with Xayah, Rakan, this is a very big playmaking duo, and Hylissang, Rakan, I mean, it's famous, man. It's one of his best supports. It gives him so much agency, so much playmaking potential. It's just a joy to watch. Whereas Misfits are going to round things out with an Alistar. Vander, tried and true. Mr. Consistent down in the bot lane. Very reliable support, has been for a very long time. And he's going to be one of the big engage tools for Misfits. So Misfits have a little bit more of a dive composition. We saw this earlier. We've been seeing this a lot throughout the day. You kind of, when you're running the Kai'Sa, want to pair things up that can access the backline. Whereas Fnatic have a little bit more skirmishing, a little bit more team fighting. You can see that with champions like the Viego, they can be very powerful if they're able to... The moment someone dies, you get that soul. You get to steal the person's essence, I guess. Yeah. It can be very difficult to deal with once those resets start to come through. The Rumble ultimate, the double AD carries. Like, there's a lot of split pushing potential there as well. So I think that Fnatic composition gives them a couple of options. And I'm a big fan of them. So we'll see how things pan out as we get into the game, as we will be rounding out the day with Fnatic versus Misfits.
As we get on to Summoner's Rift. Of course, all eyes for Fnatic will be on their top side of the map. Bwipo moving into the jungle. Adam coming up from K-Corp to fill some very big shoes. So as Bwipo, the previous Fnatic top laners, very difficult shoes to fill, very storied players. And Bwipo actually on his 3rd competitive role here as well, Vedius, having played bot lane, top lane, and now
Technically, he was still playing top lane when he played bot lane.
I'm pretty sure I saw him with the bot lane. Pretty sure.
Yes,
Well,
you're
no, because
right.
they subbed out Reckless.
They did, yeah.
So he was playing bot lane.
Yes.
If they subbed out Soaz and he had swapped with Reckless,
But I think also Soaz played some bot lane games too.
True, so Soaz has played 2 competitive roles.
Okay. All right, whatever. Anyway.
Before we get into this,
Yep.
I've worked out a little game we can play through this game.
I don't.
And you can tell me if you don't want to play it.
Okay.
Okay. When you mentioned jungle points,
I
all I could think of was Dumbledorius. And you are the headmaster of the League of Legends School of Witches and Wizardry.
Right.
And you are giving points to Bwipo like Dumbledore gives points to Gryffindor, okay? So whenever Bwipo does a cool jungle thing,
Right.
I just want you to shout out 10 points to Gryffindor.
Okay.
Okay?
Does that have to be Whippendor?
No, you can pick
what
a
about,
name.
What about Whipperin?
Whipperin.
Or Whipplepuff?
Whipplepuff. I love Whipplepuff. Okay.
Whippo Claw?
That's all I want you to do. I think it'll be fun.
Okay. Well, for now, Bwipo, the jungler, is going to start with a topside clear. He did something which I'm actually going to deduct points from, where he dropped his ward in the river, and then he walked back to base for some reason. Normally, every jungler that I've seen, maybe this is new tech that I don't know, but every jungler that I've seen will like drop it and then insta-base, then go back, get the sweeper, and then walk back in. But he walked. Now, I don't know if that is new tech or not, but in any case, he's losing points for it.
It is something, actually, we could have a look at some of his jungle stats to analyze. So let's just bring up his jungle stats right now.
Those are jungle stats, are they?
They're quite informative, I think.
I really feel like I learned a lot from his jungle stats. Thank you for that one, Medic. Really happy that you got that one in. All right, so then, let's bring us back to the game, shall we? As Upset and Hylissang do have push in the bot lane. Nisqy has push in mid. Vander's going to get a bit of a trade-off onto Hylissang, but he's not going to be too concerned about that. And HiRit will have priority in the top side of the map. That will mean a trade of Scuttle Crabs, top side for Razork, and bot side for Bwipo. He's a little bit slower than that of the Udyr, so he will be one... Well, I thought he would be one camp down. Oh, he should be, yeah, he should be, because Razork is just about to kill that, but Bwipo's looking for a gank.
And we did wonder with Bwipo moving into the jungle whether it would be tempered aggression, whether he would have reined himself in a little bit from the old school Bwipo and Hylissang all guns blazing all the time sort of style. But he looked just to force Kobbe and Vander away, and will, this time instead of walking back to base, use his recall button and works his way back down there.
Get himself the Amp Tone and the Dark Seal. As a bit more training comes out from the Fnatic bot lane.
This isn't great for Upset. Vander will have the stun, locks up Upset, and you can see, a great route back there from Upset. Pulled back the Blade Caller to keep Kobbe in place. Razork now looking for a gank in the mid lane. Nisqy has the dash, has the flash, has a multitude of way out of this one. Will dash up towards Bwipo and get himself out of danger.
Yeah, so the problem with an Akali is that she doesn't really offer anything pre-level 6, so you just kind of have to sit there and soak up the pressure. Using the Doran shield. Yeah, you can see how obnoxious the Lucian matchup is in the early laning phase, but usually you just kind of rely on your fleet footwork and... Oh, hang on, Nisqy. Oh, that was a tower shot. Not quite enough damage, though, for Vetheo to recommit onto the trade. He definitely would have died. I think his W is also on cooldown, but I love the way in which Nisqy is utilizing his Q, the added range where it goes through the minions to actually poke out. Vetheo means that he's going to be put far, very, very behind. Some good stuff from him. As Bwipo now hovering around the top side, that's a huge stacked wave. The timing is good. 5 points to Bwipendor. Razork now has found Bwipo, though. The slow going to come through from Razork.
I will say as well, just as we see a fight here in the bottom lane, Vander looking for the stun here onto Upset. Will land it. Blade Caller only rooting up the Alistar, so Kobbe will be able to put a little bit more damage down. Adam, because of the way that wave was stacked up and because of the fact that he's been laning pretty effectively into HiRit early on here, has built himself up a 14-15 CS lead. And a pure 1v1 for the majority of it. Hylissang diving in once again, of course, can jump a long way away here. Vander looking to knock Upset far enough away so that Hylissang couldn't dance back to him.
Trader Summoner spells overall. Looks like Fnatic are going to be the losers in this small exchange, as it did cost the flash from Hylissang. But
I didn't actually, because he doesn't have flash, Vedius. He's running the exhaust
right.
ignite.
Yeah, I actually missed that because I was looking and I was like, oh yeah, it looks like he's just going to burn his flash, and that looks like a yellow icon to me. Yep. But you are correct there. I was wondering where that exhaust came from initially. I thought, oh, that's weird. Vander doesn't have one. Where was I? Yeah, good spot there. Classic Hylissang.
Yep.
We often see this. I remember that, I forget who he was playing, but he did run it and died at like level 2.
So I think, if I remember correctly, it was first run against him by Genji's Life at Worlds 2019. And then Hylissang started doing it a lot more last year, yeah. But they destroyed Life. Like, Life did not have a good time in that game at all. It was the Ezreal Rakan
I
lane.
remember your... Yes, I remember that.
Ooh, Nisqy flashes Vetheo.
Flash.
Great flash from him to get out of that one. Does still have the TP here. Could TP in, and Razork is in a good position for a gank here onto Nisqy. Vetheo goes back. Nisqy, of course, no flash on him. The Phoenix stance is going to burn Nisqy down. Doesn't really have the mana to dash right now either. Razork with another stun. The bear is enough. Razork survives. Oh, it doesn't quite. Last minion auto attack will take him down.
I guess he didn't put a point in turtle stance, which isn't that uncommon for many Udyr players, but yeah, it was unfortunate, because if he'd had turtle stance there and he'd popped his shield, that would have been enough to get him away from the minion aggro. But unfortunately for Razork, he is going to end up losing his life. So, you know, for Razork, I'll give him 10 points, you know? It's, there's the two sides, Medic. You got to be equal.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So, good gank, though, will relieve some of the pressure, and overall good punish onto the fact that Nisqy did not have the flash. So we're going to have a quick look back at this one. And overall, the reactions times from Vetheo. He knows that the overcommitment is coming. It's just a matter of timing. Look at the damage coming out from Nisqy, and then the immediate... And that was a react flash from Vetheo, and that's the most impressive thing about it. I think that it's one of those situations where Nisqy is saying, I'm threatening the dive, so you should flash. And then because Vetheo wasn't flashing, he's like, all right, I'm going to commit and punish you. But then he's able to react to it, and then you can see here, ooh, a single minion auto is enough to get that kill, but still gets himself some jungle points. So beautiful stuff there from Razork, but Fnatic right now sit with the gold lead. I think a lot of that is coming out from Adam towards the top side of the map, and of course the mid lane advantage that Nisqy continues to build in this 1v1 matchup.
You can see Adam about 300 CS, right? 300 gold up right now, about 600 gold. Oh! Bwipo with the equalizer finds the long-range snipe kill.
That was beautifully played. All the work was done, though, by Nisqy, so I'm not going to give any points to Bwipo for that one.
No points?
No points.
No
because
points?
that was all Nisqy, really. Bwipo just leveraging the long-range ultimate that the Rumble does have to secure that kill onto Vetheo is going to keep that Akali down, and that's a really important matchup to keep down as HiRit's going to kick Adam away.
Yeah, just wants to keep Adam at arm's length. Adam already with the Vampiric Scepter, so can heal up pretty effectively in those fights, and Razork's on his way up here as well. Dragon was taken by Fnatic. Razork looking to catch out Adam, uses the control ward. Adam was in the harrowed path, that invisibility, and now Razork holds the wave. No one from Fnatic is coming to save you, Adam. Jumps forward. His heart is broken into. Razork with an easy kill in the top lane.
Yeah, beautifully played from Razork. He knew that there was no way for Adam to get out of that situation, and unfortunately for him, he just had to tank the gank and give over his life. So Misfits definitely being proactive on the map. Razork really getting involved, finding the gank in mid, finding the gank in top. He's kind of like that early game bridge to alleviate some of this early game pressure that Fnatic is putting down all across the boards. And he's making it work for his team. The question is, can they get away with this Rift Herald as Fnatic rejoins the fight?
There's the equalizer. Razork chasing onto Nisqy. Vetheo diving in as well. TP coming in as Fnatic have already got 2 quick kills. The shutdown onto Razork. And HiRit's going to get chased away here as well. He will fall. Vetheo forced away from the fight. I believe the Rift Herald went over to Bwipo as well.
The damage from this 3-man squad of Fnatic, I think it's just too much. We can see the equalizer comes down early, but then look, Vetheo just doesn't quite have the damage that the members of Fnatic do. They're able to burst out Razork. They also had a huge numbers advantage given that HiRit's TP just came in way too late. So Fnatic just focused one target down at a time. Vetheo does get a trade kill onto Nisqy, but unfortunately for Misfits, it is not quite enough. So as you rightly said, Herald goes down over towards Fnatic, and they get themselves a lot of kills, and Adam is going to get a lot of plates up towards the top side of the map as well.
Adam having a really good start to this game. Although he died to the gank, he's been able to consistently put pressure down onto HiRit, take these plates. That's 3 for him so far. And for anyone who doesn't know, Adam as a player. Of course, if you watched EU Masters, you saw him absolutely pop off on the Darius.
EU Masters champion.
He is an EU Masters champion. Has only been playing for about 2 years. It was LFL Spring Champion in 2021 and EU Masters Spring Champion, of course, this year as well. I was playing professionally for 2 years, I should note, in case anyone out there's like, I've been playing for 10 and I can't even get to LEC. He's probably been playing for a little while longer than that. Vetheo used in the mid lane. Adam coming across, going to force HiRit away. Nice stun with the Spectral Morph. Chases him in, and the Heartbreaker won't quite be enough damage. HiRit uses the kick onto Bwipo. Vetheo charges in. Hylissang dives forward as well. And the Vetheo will help them take all 5 plates from this mid lane tower. Fnatic now 3,000 gold ahead, betting.
Pretty good use of the Rift Herald to break open that mid tier 1.
Yeah, is that a points situation?
No.
You said really good. You can't just not give him any points.
Because he's not doing anything. It's a team thing.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
He had to put the Rift Herald down.
Again, you're tunneling too hard on the points, Fnatic. You're tunneling too hard on the points.
Giving him 2 points for that.
I'm not giving him any points. Listen, that was an excellent team effort because it was just set up very well, right? They leveraged the fact that Vetheo doesn't have the wave clear to stop, and now Razork, though, is trying to answer back. But Adam, with the good disengage, is going to avoid that play, and Bwipo is in the vicinity once again. Notice that control ward under the tower still there. Adam actually never cleared that out from earlier. So a bit of gold just sitting there waiting for him. Will he get the wards? Yes, he will. All right, so he's just noticed that as well. We'll get 30 gold into his back pocket. Doesn't have the TP, so we'll likely lose a wave and potentially a plate here as well. Or is he going to stick around? Okay, he's going to choose to stick around. I think this is the wiser play. But to go back to that original play, the one that happened in the mid lane, it was just well set up because you're keeping this Akali down. She is very weak in the early game. She hits a big spike once she gets that first item, which is often why she's picked into things like the Lucian, because once you get level 6, you actually have some kill threat. As we see another re-engage.
Alistar goes in. Remember, no flash on him. He's going to try and dodge away here, but Razork is there with the stun, and Kobbe is there with the killer instinct. Another stun going down onto Upset. Bwipo was waiting around the corner, but will start to retreat here as Misfits back away underneath their tower. They knew Nisqy was coming down. Of course, the threat of that Lucian roaming ever greater now that that mid lane tower has gone down.
Razork doing everything he can to keep Misfits relevant in this game. You know, they are falling further and further behind, but he is still being active on the map. He is still looking to gank, and they're able to successfully punish Hylissang in the 2 versus 2 bot lane. The problem is, though, because that mid tower went down, Nisqy can just keep the pressure up in mid. Vetheo, he does have his TP up, but he still hasn't even completed his first major item yet. So Fnatic have the control. They are comfortably in the lead, and they're the ones that are generating all the pressure. With the next Drake spawning in 20 seconds, you imagine the Misfits will be forced to concede this, and Fnatic should just be able to grab that one and maintain control over the early game.
Well, set us up for about a 24-minute Soul. Of course, can't be an Cloud, can't be an Infernal. You could get an Ocean or a Mountain. Of course, Ocean so strong with teams that have consistent DPS. Both teams would be very happy if they could manage to pick that one up. Infernal Dragon has been started here by Fnatic. They get the push in the mid lane. Nisqy works his way down. Vetheo still only sitting on the Leeching Leer here. Doesn't have a full first item. Vander coming in as well, but you have to feel, yeah, that would have been very greedy for Misfits if they went for anything there. We're just poking their heads in as Adam is chased out here by Razork, but Razork's just looking for the Scuttle Crab. Kadriel calls that theater League of Legends, where you're standing there and you're watching, you know you're not really going to do anything, but you're just like, oh, yeah, this is a good show.
Bit of information gathered as well. See, as Hylissang now diving underneath the tower, takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, not the most effective of dives there. Razork's going to try and chase down Nisqy. Nisqy does still have flash here. Vetheo working his way across as well. Now, will Misfits take this fight? Nisqy low, down to half HP. Here goes Bwipo, and Razork is burnt to an absolute crisp. Nisqy flashes across the wall. Bwipo now stuck in the Dragon Pit by himself. Vander trying to go in. Vetheo dives across, but the feathers fly, and it's a triple for Bwipo.
50 points to Bwipo as he gets himself the triple kill. 5-0-1 right now on the Rumble, and beautifully played. Great utilization of the ultimate. It was looking dicey when Vetheo jumped over the wall, but Bwipo committed his flash to follow, and he ends up getting himself some kills as well. So Fnatic continuing to extend their gold lead, sitting with 4K.
Have another look at this fight. You can see what Razork is trying to do by catching out Nisqy.
And I think the idea is good. Punish Nisqy on the rotation. Razork, as we mentioned, continues to be proactive on the map, but then Bwipo shows up, has more than enough damage to get that execute, but then Vetheo decides that he can try and answer back as well. Kobbe has the ultimate primed and ready to join in Vander, and with Vetheo over the wall, they're sitting there saying, hey, we can get these kills. Kobbe actually doesn't commit to the play, whereas Bwipo flashes over the wall and just utilizes the power of Rumble to melt through his opposition.
And Bwipo takes a decisive lead in the Quidditch Cup as well. 55 points to 10 currently for him. So he had a great fight there. Bwipendor well ahead of the Misfits jungler.
To stop taking advantage of our graphics team.
Marcus is a nice guy. He likes as much as we do. 4,000 gold lead right now for Fnatic. You see Misfits trying to set up something here. They know Nisqy has no flash. The Rift Herald is available for Fnatic if they want to start it up. The question is, will Misfits look for a fight? Currently, they are outgunned and outmanned if Adam decides to TP into this Rift Herald play.
Yeah, I think that Misfits, I think it's too risky for them to commit to this right now. I don't even think that it would benefit them a huge amount. Oh, you might just... Yeah, that's not going to work. The TP now comes through.
Adam's going to join it. Equalizer going down as well. Vander tries to get the knocker, but you just don't have the damage. Bwipo almost spawns. Vetheo looking for that backline access. Razork going in as well with the charm. It's great here from Hylissang. Shut down as HiRit takes out Bwipo. Vetheo chased off towards the top side by Nisqy, but Razork's killed off Upset. Adam left alone in a 1v3 now, and all on his lonesome, he will fall as well. It was a risky fight for Misfits, but they were able to pick up some kills.
Here I thought Misfits didn't want to take that fight, but it ends up working out in their favor. Razork now makes a reappearance onto Nisqy. He's been seeing the jungler's face all day, and Razork is looking to get himself some points on the board.
Oh, Nisqy! Oh, that was close. Razork does die to Nisqy. Vetheo takes the kill in the end.
I thought that it was going to be a quick and easy kill there from Razork, but he ends up losing his life. The kill's now 9-9. A much more competitive game than what we've been seeing so far today, Medic. We've seen a lot of one-sided affairs, but Misfits came to play, and a lot of credit needs to go to Razork here. He attempts to steal, isn't quite able to make it, but he and Vander, the big front line of the team, soaks up a lot of the damage. Then HiRit walks across from the side as Vetheo tries to buy some time. Then they melt through Bwipo. Very squishy carry, and then a lot of damage comes out from Vetheo as he's able to get out of that situation. And then the cleanup comes through from Kobbe as he rejoins the fight, and HiRit on the back line as well. The fact that Razork didn't go down, the fact that Vetheo was just kind of drawing and buying a lot of time, on top of the fact that Fnatic's comp is very squishy. They don't inherently have a front line. They're reliant on things like the exhaust from Hylissang, who also, again, doesn't have the flash, means that once Misfits get into this scrap, once they actually get into the thick of things, it's actually very easy for them to punish.
And the gold lead for Fnatic was edging towards 4,000 ahead. Now they are only about 1,000 ahead here, Vedius. Misfits very much back into this game. Kraken Slayer complete on Kobbe, Riftmaker complete on Vetheo. The Gore Drinker for HiRit as well. His kick in that last fight really helped them out. We'll see if they can continue to find good skirmishes, find good fights like that. Vander's looking for Upset, who does have the Feather Storm. Won't be able to find that engage. And importantly as well for Misfits, they have control of the bot side river right now, Vedius, and there is a dragon spawning in 14 seconds time.
I will say, I think that Fnatic need to start playing through their side lanes a little bit more. When I think more about how these team fights play out, Fnatic have a very limited amount of crowd control. And if they can kind of get that initial pick, then sure, I can see how they can win. But Misfits have that quite standard front to back. They do have backline access, and because so many Fnatic members are squishy, I can see how Misfits can actually come out ahead in these 5v5s. Let's have a look and see how this one plays out. TP is available for Vetheo. He's now going to kick that one off.
He's saying Fnatic shouldn't take a straight-up fight. That's not the Fnatic I know and love. Vetheo off towards the side of this as Vander goes in. Dragon secured by Razork. Bwipo pops the stopwatch. Adam gets his first possession, dives in onto Vetheo. Kobbe trying to do the damage that he can. Kellerman sticks in. Vetheo kills off Bwipo. Kobbe so low on the backline. He'll be taken out by Upset. Now it's Nisqy and Upset versus the world, but Misfits continue to push forward. A quadra kill for Vetheo. Add one more on the plate. HiRit takes it, and it's an ace for Misfits.
We talked about how squishy this comp is for Fnatic, and as the items continue to come through for Vetheo, you can see the damage that he is able to let loose. Beautiful team fight from Misfits, and they now claim some control over this game.
Vetheo came into spring as a Zoe player. Now we see him entering summer as a mid-lane player, Betty.
So let's just track Vetheo in this fight. Notice that a lot of damage comes down onto Bwipo, and where I've already lost him. He dives onto the backline, gets that execution onto Bwipo, and takes another one with him. He's then just dancing around in the shroud, and like, you know, he did get a quadra kill, but to be fair, I think that the whole Misfit squad needs to be recognized there, because it's just a matter of when they're clumped up like that, it feels like the Fnatic's comp just melts so quickly. Like, yes, Vetheo got the quadra kill, but look at the damage from Razork, look at the damage from HiRit. Like, everyone is contributing because they're just hitting whoever is in front of them, and Fnatic cannot tank them up. Fnatic need to leverage their strong side lane power and need to start breaking the map up a little bit more if they want to reclaim control over this game.
Misfits are coming back fighting in this game versus Fnatic. They have taken the gold lead for the first time in definitely a long time, if not the entire game here. Vedius now 1,000 gold ahead. 2 items on Vetheo. He's got a stopwatch as Hylissang jumped on here. There's the stun. Hylissang, where are you going to go? Dives back towards Nisqy, but Vetheo is on the chase. He's on the prowl. He's on the hunt. Can't quite land the shuriken. There's the equalizer, and perhaps Fnatic are going to try and turn this one back around. Vander going back in. Kobbe dives forward with the killer instinct, and here comes the TP as HiRit wants to join the fray. Vetheo underneath the tower, can't quite kill off Nisqy, but HiRit lands the kick, looks for the knockback, can't quite do the damage to upset, and HiRit has dived a little greedily, he's dived a little deep, and he will fall. Adam possesses him as the Sonic Wave doesn't quite connect.
Fnatic are able to punish the over-aggression from Misfits. Adam now looking for the fight onto Vetheo.
Adam just taking the bite to Vetheo right here. TP is coming in for Fnatic, but Adam is absolutely popping off right now. Vetheo has to flash the wall, and Fnatic might use this as an opportunity to start up the Baron.
This looks like a Baron angle to me. They have the numbers advantage. Razork forced to reset. He's sitting there on the walls right now. And while Fnatic don't have the best front line, it doesn't matter. They do have a lot of damage. They're just going to melt through this objective and immediately flip the game once again.
Razork has flash, Vedi. Are you going to go for it? 2,000? You're just going to flash in. Hylissang! So smart. Gets the knockup. Can dive back to the rest of Fnatic. Baron to Fnatic. 1,000 gold between these two teams. Vedi, we wanted a banger to end the day. We are getting it.
We certainly are, and this is the overcommitment from Misfits. So we can see they have a strong top side of the map. They're trying to punish Hylissang. The problem is, many members of Fnatic have just reset and are now making their way back out onto the map as they path up towards topside. HiRit cannot get involved in this fight just yet as the TP now comes through. They realize that they've committed to the fight, and then Vetheo overextends along with HiRit. They think that they can just nuke this backline, but the mobility on Fnatic's comp allows them to keep disengaging. HiRit has used absolutely everything in his toolkit, and then he's got nothing left. Vetheo doesn't have the ultimate. Adam can commit to the fight because he knows that he has the reset, and they're able to convert that into a quick Baron. So Misfits, they lost it as quickly as they gained it. They are now at the deficit. They still sit with the kill lead. They sit with the tower lead. They're down in Drakes, and while they will lose the Baron, ultimately this will just buy more time for Fnatic. But I hope they realize that what they need to do is start playing through their side lanes a little bit more. We can see that Misfits are kind of pushing out sides, then grouping up and using their 5-man to force fights. And Fnatic, they can't afford to keep doing this because they're getting melted before they can really leverage any of the power that their composition has.
One good thing for Misfits is, although they are a Baron down right now, although they're a little bit of gold down right now, they did take that Ocean Dragon earlier, meaning that Fnatic are not on soul point. Still only sitting at 2 dragons in their ledger. Here it's going to try and defend the bot lane tower as the Fnatic group up. We'll look to put some pressure on, but as you say, it's quite hard for Fnatic to really step up too far. There's always that ever-lurking threat of Razork, who has been absolutely everywhere for the majority of this game. 20 seconds on the Ocean Drake. Vetheo off towards the top lane, farming that up. He has the TP. Razork standing on a ward. Adam puts down the harrowed path. And it looks like Misfits are willing to give up this bot side tier 1, just for more pressure on the top side for Adam. Get him a little bit more gold. Getting a bit more CS in his back pocket so he can get towards that 3rd item. Ocean Drake now secured for Fnatic. Mid lane prio for Misfits. You can sense it. You can feel it in the air. A fight is coming, Vedius. It's like the oncoming storm. The question is, where will it erupt?
For now, it's simply a cross map. Misfits control the top side, Fnatic control the bottom. A couple resets are going to come through as the Baron is going to be running out relatively soon.
I mean, like, the thing with this Baron is you got a tower out of it, you got another dragon out of it, although the gold that you acquired from it was not as much as perhaps you would have liked.
I mean, yeah, not all Barons have to be used to
get gold,
to take a bunch of objectives. I think that just removing it from the map is also like it's like a momentum blocker for Misfits. been watching a lot of volleyball recently, and they do this thing where they call timeouts, right? And it's just to cut off the momentum. And I think that this is a really good example of one where like Misfits were winning fights, they were constantly being hyper aggressive, and like they get punished once, they lose the Baron, and then all of a sudden their momentum's cut off. So you almost create a reset, right? The gold is now dead even. This could be Fnatic's opportunity.
Exhaust onto Razork, Hylissang. So that's the grand entrance. TP coming in
Not
here.
a good
Equalizer a mile wide there from Bwipo. Vetheo has joined the fray, as has HiRit. Bwipo. He was looking at another screen or something right there, because that equalizer was
I think his goal was to try and punish Kobbe there on the backside, but Kobbe could quite easily just navigate that one around. I'm pretty sure there was a reason for that, and to me, his goal was to attack Kobbe in some capacity. Fortunately for him, his plan did not quite work out the way that he wanted it to. In the meantime, though, a lot of core itemization is being completed. You can see the Void Staff being worked on by Vetheo. The fact that this Akali now is very close to 3 items is very terrifying for Fnatic, because these fights are only going to get harder, I feel anyway, because one of the other things that, we talked about how squishy this comp is, like, what stops an Akali getting onto your backline, right? Like that few seconds of charm that come through from Hylissang, perhaps the exhaust. Okay, sure, you exhaust the Akali, but then what about the lead? You know, there's so much backline threat, and Fnatic don't have enough tools to actually properly peel or protect their carries. So that's why we keep talking about these side lanes. And they have sent the Lucian up towards the top side of the map. They're going to try and leverage some of that pressure right now. They want to now control mid so that they can set up vision towards the top side jungle, so they can better enable Nisqy and allow him to start threatening these towers. But Misfits already on the response. Vetheo up towards the top lane. Going to catch this wave, and Razork going to move himself up towards the topside jungle as well, so that he can control this part of the map, which means that no collapse can come down onto Vetheo, whereas HiRit is playing in his vision. He has all these wards littered throughout this part of the jungle, so he knows that he can kind of control the fog, and he can force Fnatic to play scared. So Misfits playing the map very well right now.
For Fnatic, they need to maintain vision around this bot side river, because I'm going to circle it for you. There's an Ocean Soul up in 2 minutes time for them. If they can keep control of that bot side, Ocean Soul will help them even more in those team fights. Help them even more because, yes, Akali can get on your backline, but if you're gaining all of that extra health from the Ocean Soul, it becomes a lot harder for her to assassinate you. Of course, Baron up before that, 25 seconds on it, Vedi. And I'm itching for this fight. I'm sure Fnatic are too. Bwipo and Hylissang,
well, I think
they were known as the fight bros. They want to take fights.
I don't think Fnatic want the 5v5 though. I mean, maybe they do want the 5v5, but I don't think the 5v5 is a good idea for them. I'm not sure if Vetheo wins this 1v1 with the itemization that Adam has for himself. Once he gets an Oblivion Orb, I think that it is very doable. But till then... Oh, Vetheo is also not level 16 just yet. That's also another big power spike for him. But an impressive game, and a lot of credit needs to go over to Razork. I think his early game was really impactful in keeping Misfits relevant as the ultimate comes down.
TP coming out as well. There's the Cullen. Kobbe just gets a locket. Vander on that front line. HiRit going in. HiRit going out straight away. And now Vetheo is going to get charmed as soon as he gets out of this. Has the stopwatch still. Dodges away with the stopwatch. Razork going onto the back line as well as Bwipo is the first one to fall. Vetheo dives back onto him. Perfect execution from the Misfits mid laner there. Hylissang still looking to step forward, but it was Fnatic that pulled the trigger. And it was Bwipo who paid the price. Here it goes in. Hylissang goes down. 1-for-1 trade as Adam possesses the Lee Sin. Misses the Sonic Wave. Misfits now a man up. Baron available. Ocean Dragon available. Razork going back to base. Resetting. Spectral Maw from Adam. Gets the stun, but only onto Vetheo. And Vander has the flash. Vander has the flash headbutt here if he wants it. Doesn't decide to pull the trigger.
Fnatic know how healthy they are, so they're just trying to buy time. They're preventing Misfits from getting this reset off because Bwipo is alive in 9 more seconds. The longer they keep this going, the better it is for Fnatic.
Kobbe has killer instinct. He can go in on any one of these headbutts. Mid lane prio now gained for Misfits, but as you say, Vedi, you can see Fnatic didn't lose their mid lane tier 2, and often you would there. If Fnatic had just reset immediately, they would have lost it. In fact, are they starting up the Baron? Kobbe's going to go
they're trying to trade Soul for the Baron right now, which is definitely a worthwhile trade for Fnatic. Without Kobbe, this becomes a lot harder, but Razork trying to go for the steal.
Vetheo has perfect execution. Vetheo can dive in, dive out. Twilight Shroud gets him back. Razork goes in. Smite secured from Bwipo, and Bwipendor come out on top in that. individual play. There's the equalizer. HiRit dives back onto Vander with the safeguard, but Fnatic are on a rampage. Fnatic are on the run towards Misfits. Vander goes in. Vtheo's dominating. Kobbe dives in with the killer instinct as well. And Vander may have just turned this fight on its head with a single headbutt. Triple kill for Vetheo. A second quadra of the game. And are they going to give it to them? Are they going to give Vetheo his first pentakill of the LEC? Well, Adam is not. He will retreat, but Misfits will win the fight.
Vetheo is coming up clutch in these team fights. He is doing so much work, and he is putting Fnatic in the ground. Yes, Fnatic were able to get themselves the Baron. Yes, Adam is still alive, but Misfits have their eyes set on the Nexus, and they're looking to end the game.
Adam dives in, pops the stopwatch. Are we still in pentakill timer range? Dragon's Rage, Vetheo lands the shuriken. It's an ace, but not a penta for the Misfits. Mid laner, Equalizer comes out, clears the minions, but the Nexus turrets have been cleared as well. And Fnatic may have won the early game, but Misfits managed to secure the win.
Look at the faces of elation on the side of Misfits. Beautifully played. A lot of credit needs to go to Razork for the early game, because all of the advantages that Fnatic were finding, Razork was able to keep Misfits relevant. Yeah. He was looking for gank after gank after gank after gank and just trying to keep the gold from snowballing out of control. And then it came to those fights, and then that is where Vetheo was able to shine. This very young player really came up clutch, and he struggled last split. Towards the end of the split, he was definitely on an upwards trajectory. The team better enabled him, but in the team fights, he was just popping off. This Akali was able to do work against this composition from Fnatic, and very impressive stuff from Vetheo.
Great to see his growth as well from spring into summer, and obviously credit goes to the entire Misfits roster. Fnatic, I think they will have some good signs there. Like, you have to remember, they have a rookie top laner and a role swap jungler, and they did have a very good early game. Perhaps just some draft I'm not going to say mistakes.
I think it was just a very hard to execute draft, right?
Yeah.
Because like it was, I think that they had to try and play through their side lanes, and a lot of the time they just kept getting baited into these team fights that they were just getting consistently outplayed in. So if they want a team fight, they need to draft a team fight, I think is the moral of the story.
Yeah. And if you want to vote for one of the players as your key player of the game, at LEC on Twitter, HiRit, Vetheo, and Vander are your options. And just remembering back to the fact that Quickshot couldn't believe that people didn't have faith in Fnatic. Well, Quickshot, seems like your finger's not on the pulse. Fingers, you weren't there. The crux of the matter, which is that Fnatic may change their roster, but they are always willing to team fight.
He's not on the list, but I'm going to shout him out again. Huge shout out to Razork. He came up clutch there.
I will say,
he did lose the smite
Bwipo
fight
got
against
55
Bwipo.
points and Razork only got 10.
That's because I stopped giving points out after a while.
I think we both decided the game was too intense to continue the charade of Dumbledorius and Medicus Snape, I guess.
But yes, huge shout out to Vetheo. I'm really excited to see what he could do. He had a great start to spring on his Zoe, and hopefully he has a overall much stronger summer split, because it just means the EU mids will continue to rise up through the ranks, and that's always exciting to see.
Yeah, it's great to see. We'll soon hear from Vetheo before Razork joins us in the LEC post-game lobby. Don't go anywhere.
Systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ